And she's like, let me smooch you, buddy. Oh, oh. Aren't you the sweetest? Yes, you're very sweet. Hello. Hello, amiga. What do you say? What do you say? Want to edit a book? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh. Whoa, 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 whoa. Mm-hmm. How's my doglet? How's my doglet? Hello. I'm getting licked. Mm-hmm. The stream should just be this all the time. Just me petting this dog. Her being happy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're so sweet. Oh, hello. 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 Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What's going on? Mm-hmm. She's nailing me too. What's that smirk? Mm-hmm. See us there? That's you. That's you right there. Oh, you tricked me. All right. Let's see if we can get another chapter done. Good doggy. All right. So let me let the boys know that we're editing. The boys. All right. Let's say we do chapter 47. Chapter 47. You're listening to Teddy Webb with Saturday Night Oldies on KOB 1070. Up next, The Flamingos. The phone rang halfway through. I only have eyes for you, and startled them both. Una's phone was an off-white, Bakelite Western Electric rotary. Her old exchange number was still printed on the little card under the receiver. Alpine 5033-3. Uh-oh, I just got a message. Mm. There it is. Hey, what's up, Logic? Sorry, just some, how large is that crime that I... Okay. Yeah, a very large crime. How big is this actually? Hold on. Does this have to stop what I'm doing? All right, and I got sloth too. All right, well, this is... Okay. Let's get back to it. All right, so earlier today in chapter 46, El Retorno del Rey, so Robin went back to the game store after his second round of leukemia treatment and chemotherapy and so forth is over. Um, so he had like dinner at Sandy Amsler's house and became infatuated with his younger sister, who was a year older than him. I guess she's 14. Leukemiastore.com. Let's do it, bro. Um, get all your leukocytes and myeloid blasts and lymphoid blasts, all that good stuff. All right, and so I think chapter 47 is an Una chapter, and then there's a big battle going on with the Heartbroken Brigade, where they're fighting at Last Gate. So there should be a big fantasy battle, possibly today. So a lot going on. Okay, you're listening to Teddy Webb with Saturday Night Oldies on KOB 1070. Up next, the Flamingos. The phone rang halfway through. I only have eyes for you, and startled them both. Una's phone was an off-light, Bakelite, Western Electric rotary. Her old exchange number was still printed on the little card under the receiver, Alpine 5033-3. According to the Kit Kat clock, and we know that it is KKK. And actually, hold on, let me just make sure that... All right, so it's actually Kit Kat, and it is a proper name. It's an Art Deco novelty wall clock shaped like a grinning cat with cartoon eyes that swivel in time with its pendulum tail. You know what I'm talking about. I thought they I didn't know if they whether or not they had one of these on The Simpsons. Una and Robin looked up from their bird. According to the Kit Kat clock, it was after 9. Una and Robin looked up from their birds. Neither wanted to answer. At this hour, it can only be bad news. Probably a wrong number, Una said. I'll get it. Robin got up so Una wouldn't have to. Her hip bothered her more at night. But her chair was closer. Una beat him to the phone. Mm-hmm. What's up, Sandin? Sandin, you gotta reveal your actual identity at some point if you were also trying to date Say It's so much, man. Wait, is that a baby giraffe we out here? Oh, it's Logic. Alright, so Angie was there. Robin got up so Una wouldn't have to. Her hip bothered her more at night. But her chair was closer. Una rose and beat him to the phone. I think we do need a... But her chair was closer. Una rose and beat him to the phone. Yes, hello, Una answered. Yes, hello, Una answered. She lifted her head and spoke loudly and clearly in her announcer voice. A high voice pipped from the speaker receiver. Yes, he's here. One moment. Una held out the phone. How can I not spell receiver? It's because I'm not a receiver. I'm a transmitter of HIV. Anyhow. Yes, he's here. One moment. Una held out the phone. It's for you, she smiled. Confused, Robin took the receiver. Hello? Hi, Robin. It's Yvonne. What are you doing? Hi. Just, painting? What's up? Robin fumbled. His cheeks burned. He could almost see Yvonne's smirk. Just hanging out. That rat Sandy wouldn't give me your number. I had to look you up. Did you know you're the only Martillos? Yep, it's just us. Sandy is some friend, huh? Wouldn't give your number to a pretty girl. Said he didn't want me to bother you. So this should be, should it be in Yeah, it should be in italics. Just because we got all these extra A's to make it a diphthong. Just hanging out. Actually, with the 3 A's, it's kind of like hang. This is before they had like hey with a bunch of Y's in it. Yeah, remember you couldn't text people and like girls would call you and they'd talk to like your parents. And your parents would be like, nee, 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 nee. And then you're just like, screw it, I'll just turn gay. No. Those were the days and the gays. Said he didn't want me to bother you. He said he didn't want me to bother you. Look at, this is Sandy trying to save his amigo from having to deal with his sister. It's no bother, Robin said at once. I wish it was an incel. I already wrote like an entire book that was just like the hardest core, incel core, right? Like Zeros, so incellulous, right? Monstrously incellulous. And I think survival mode also counts as incel core. Not space charts though. It's full of retard humping. So let me see. And I think the guy in the right to bear arms doesn't get any pussy either. So, or bussy, I guess would be his choice. He like pines for some receptionist at the sew your arms back on clinic. So yeah, I feel like incels are overrepresented. But also like this book is PG-13. Like nobody's getting anything. And also these guys are like, she's 14 and he's 13. All right, I'm not going there. It's no bother, Robin said at once. Haha, obviously. Ha, obviously. What did you do to him anyway? He won't shut up about that dumb game. Oh yeah, it was pretty wild. Did he tell you what happened? Only about 5 times. Mom had to tell him no more battle reports at the dinner table. He's sulking in his room now. That's a shame. Genius is so often misunderstood. Yvonne laughed, pure as a bell. Robin's smile was like a wave through his whole body. He could feel a tingle on his scalp. I'm going to bed. Clean my brush. Una patted his shoulder and shuffled out of the kitchen. Her blue jay lay half-painted on the newspaper. Okay, and then we jump into the fantasy battle. Oh, yeah. What was his name? Traitor? Yeah, Traitor is like school shooter himself. Ugh. I hate that he changed his artist name. What a traitor. To the surprise of all, the Windsworn held the line as the Chaos hosts approach. As the Chaos armies approached, the white banners of the Windsworn Lancers whipped in the hot wind. Smoke and ash swirled from their hooves as they thundered down the mountain. Clad in blackened armor, a formation of Chaos Legionnaires stood ready to receive their charge. Oh, so sick. Let's see. Paragraph back. Something about wouldn't give your number. That rat, oh. No. That rat Sandy wouldn't give me your number. I had to look you up. Did you know you're the only Martillos? Okay. There we go. So, Sandy is some friend, comma, huh? Wouldn't give your number to a pretty girl. He said he didn't want me to bother you. Okay, so we did need a comma there. Maybe should have an I? Wouldn't give your number to a pretty girl. No, yeah. Okay, so I'll give you a point for that. I thought about putting a TV in the background where you could just see the leaderboard, but we're like so close to done with this book. All right, so with that, you were in the lead, Logic. Booyah. 2 paragraphs back. Clad in blackened armor, a formation of Chaos Legionnaires stood ready to receive their charge. The Chaos Standard Bearer raised the all-seeing eye banner and issued a vile challenge. The jeer was ignored, for Hermione the Rune King had told his lancers to plug their ears with wax. At the last moment, the cavalry pivoted and galloped past the Legionnaires. Instead, they drove into the Black-Handed One's camp, right into the chorus of the Eyeless. The damned chanters wailed their treasonous song, but the lancers could not hear the dirge, and the black madness could not touch their hearts. With white-shafted lances, they ran the blind sirens through, and then drew their cutlasses to finish their bloody work. We need the coordinating comma there. Actually, hold on, Soon the choir was slain, and it seemed the Black-Handed One would share their fate. All right. I have questions about all these commas. Really and truly. Because they don't look right to me. Your punctuation is grammatically perfect. You've handled 2 complex sentence structures correctly, using commas to clarify timing and prevent runoffs. Yeah. I need to... You know, where is the option to set, like, the autocorrect to be, like that tsundere girlfriend, right? Who is, like, stepping on your balls and calling you an idiot, even though you're right. You know, that's what I need from my, automatic assistant here. I hate positivity. Ugh. That's why we're writing about the Chaos Legion. From the rear of the host, Slish Slish the Riftmaster lurched in his ebon throne. 4 horrid flesh goblins bore the black palanquin on their patchwork backs. So black palanquin is like an artifact or something. 4 horrid flesh goblins bore the black palanquin on their patchwork backs, for the Riftmaster was too bloated to move under his own power. Slish Slish hissed his sigils so... so he's hissing sigils. I like the... Slish Slish hissed a word so foul that reality itself recoiled from its touch. A whirl of distortion roared across the battlefield, and a screaming rift opened beside the Black-Handed One. In the blink of an eye, he leapt in and reappeared at the Riftmaster's side. Unwilling to let his foe escape, the Lancer Captain spurred his horse and charged into the Shadow Rift. The Riftmaster croaked a wet laugh and drew his thumb and forefinger apart. The journey that was but a blink for the Black-Handed One stretched into 1,000 years for the ill-fated Lancer Captain. The horse and rider flew from the portal, lifeless and desiccated. The remains crashed to the ground and crumbled to dust. Ooh, yeah, you don't want to hop through any portal, like in the midst of a master of time and space, like the Riftmaster. I do think that's cool. He's like, shh, and it takes 1,000 years for him to teleport. Love it. The Legionnaires turned to give chase, but a whistle shrieked overhead. They looked up just as a fallen cask crushed the standard bearer and flung his profane banner into the dirt. He was the lucky one. A terrible pestilence swarmed forth. The legionnaires screamed and clawed at their helms as the flies swarmed into their eyes and burrowed in. A second cast exploded and halted their march. The third broke them. The Chaos Legionnaires were left kicking and writhing in the dust. The cavalry they were meant to escort charged past, unprotected. Slit-eyed and serpent-tongued, the lizard lords rode on the backs of gargantuan six-legged crocodiles. Frenzied by the noise and heat, the beasts surged uphill with white slaver leaking from long jaws full of scimitar teeth. With white slaver leaking from jaws full of scimitar teeth. A great feast. Slaver is saliva. Yeah. It's like, I'm surprised that you don't know, slaver as an equestrian. Because, like, horses are, like, foaming at the muzzle all the time as you're whipping them and being like, finish him, break him in half, Shout outs to Mr. Hands. But we call it slobber. Slobber is the same thing. Slobber, slaver, saliva, drool. They're all different words, but they conjure a slightly different amount of white frothiness, if you can believe it. Hold on, let's check and make sure that, because I'm 80% confident that I'm right there. Okay, so slaver, a synonym is drool. Let's go to the dictionary. Well, the CambridgeDictionary.com sucks. A slaver, especially of an animal, to allow liquid to come out of the mouth, especially because of... Oh, so it can be a verb. But can slaver be a noun? I'm looking at a UK dictionary. I like this better, actually. I'm going to give you a point for that, Sloth. Really made me, like, stop and think. So, I have seen slaver used as a noun, right? But I think they do tend to do that, in my experience. So, it can be used as a noun, but I think people would confuse it with, oh wow, you're up to 9 edits here. It's pretty good. I think people might confuse it with slaver, especially since there are slaves in these armies. So I like this one here. Let's see. Slit-eyed and serpent-tongued, the lizard lords rode on the backs of gargantuan six-legged crocodiles. Frenzied by the noise and heat, the beasts surged uphill with venom slavering from jaws full of scimitar teeth. Perfect. A great feast waited above. All the Hawkmoon and Searshots were positioned along the ridge. From that high vantage, the marksmen rained death on the entire western host. Ureg saw the danger first. Unstoppable as the wind, he and his blade dancers flew across the battlefield and countercharged the lizard lords. As they closed, their horses balked and reared. They were trained to fight men, not monsters. The lizard lords hissed with sibilant laughter, but not for long. Ureg leapt from his saddle with his great swords outstretched like wings and flew into their midst. The riders set on him with delight. Spears stabbed, jaws snapped, and tails lashed, but nothing could touch Ureg. They were not ready for the whirlwind. By the time his blade dancers had mastered their mounts, 3 of the lords were dead, and another was crawling away, bloody and begging for mercy. A moment later, a riderless crocodile bit him in half. Ureg was already on to the next target. Single-handedly, he halted the enemy charge. His dervishes swept in and set upon the lizard lords. Soon they were no more. The surviving crocodiles turned tail and burrowed into the chaos lines, trampling all in their path. The skirmish became the focus of the Western Front. Slave drivers scourged mobs of spidery abominations towards the breach. Windsworn sword spearmen rushed in to fight them. Soon the ground was a threshing pit of whirling blades and hacked off limbs. The summoner coven saw their chance. Look at these 2Ds. No, we don't need saw their chance. The summoner coven crashed their toneless cymbals and beat upon drums stretched with human skin. Balked and reared. Okay, well, you are the horseman. Let's, let me see. Spooked sounds weird there. Say something other than, because a balk is like, where the horse is like, ugh, right? What does balk mean in horse terms? Alright, what is a balk? Balk is the horse's refusal to move forward when instructed by its rider. It's distinct from spooking, as a balking horse. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so balking is just like, and then, it can be caused by conflicting cues, such as squeezing with the legs while pulling back on the reins, or inconsistent training. Alright, so that's the horse is just like, I'm not sure about this. Neutral expression. Alright, yeah, so spooking seems to be the way to go. Yeah, spooked and reared seems a lot better. Can we do spooked and reared? Yeah, because I see exactly what you're saying. Where like, actually, this is like really good at it because you have specific knowledge about this one. So this one I like. Boom, up to 10 points. There's nothing as good. Spook and rear. I don't want them to bolt because like they eventually do later in the paragraph. They get control of the horses, but I want them to like, whoa, do this number. And I think this I was not. So I knew that balking meant like it would like shy away from something or whatever. But it sounds like a horse balking is specifically the horse is just like, I'm not doing that. It just kind of like stops in place and like puts his ears back or whatever. Yeah, it should have more. Sloth, you got to see this thing that Vicodin and I did where we just. I think I already told you about it. We went around and with just like a big pad of paper and then just wrote like draw a horse on the pad of paper and just looked at how bad people were at drawing horses. Bro, it was a disaster. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was really like I'm gonna do this bit a few more times before the summer is over. Um, but yeah, like it just and people were like pretty cute with it too. We were like set up outside of the clerk's office, and so people were coming out just after they got married, and you'd see like newlyweds like doing the horn. We should see if Vicodin has the video of that, any of it was any good. But yeah, it was a good bit. Draw a horse. My horse was a horse. When I was down, draw a horse. I should have like that sheet of paper under the horse one. Somebody's really good at drawing a horse. I'm like, now draw a whore. The summoner coven crashed their toneless cymbals and beat upon drums stretched with human skin. The din reverberated in the bonds between worlds until the seams split. The ground cracked open beneath the fighters, and soldiers fell screaming into the fissures. The ground cracked open, and soldiers fell screaming into the fissures. Black smoke billowed and red haze rose as rift fiends crawled from the breaches. They were molten beings of magma and burning metal. The windsworn spears shattered against the steely skin, and sulphurous steam hissed from their wounds. Yep, I got it before you typed that. Booyah. All right. The spearmen broke and fled, but Ureg's blade dancers were drunk on battle, and crazed by the Rune King's mind-bending brew. They fought on to the last, though their swords wilted and their armor melted like wax. Oh yeah, no. Damn, getting another point, boy. Damn. Damn, son, where'd you find this? Alright, cool. In fact, I don't... Cracks. Rift fiends crawled from the cracks. Alright, there we go. They fought on to the last, though their swords wilted, and their armor melted like wax. Soon only Ureg was left. His fury burned hotter than the fiends, and his blue-baned blades cleaved right through their ranks. The whirlwind fought on, heedless of his wounds. When the last demon crumbled to dust, Ureg fell to his knees and wept for his fallen brothers. At terrible cost, the archers were saved. The sacrifice was repaid, many times over. Atop the ridge, the marksmen unleashed volley after volley. Guided by fate, the arrows of the seer shots flew unerringly. Spurred by pride, the Hawkmoon loosed with astonishing speed. Their arrows fell in a feathered downpour and devastated the ranks of chaos. Above it all, Cinnabonathi's sword, borne on black wings. Her shrieking shots flew true, and each pierced the heart of a chaos dominator. As the slave masters perished, the dark bonds died with them, and the beasts they once dominated went berserk. The once proud lizard-man warriors woke from their trances and turned on the corrupted shaman who had sold the tribe into dark bondage. Yep. It was all coming apart. Oh, my voice is terrible. Yeah, all the, we flew to Canada to the wildfires to try and get high on that. Guided by fate and then spurred by pride. Well, it's supposed to be, though, guided by fate. Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, I do want something about how it hurts their pride that these guys are just... Yeah, it's too much. I think it's good to just take that out. Lame. Because I wanted to have, like, some competition between the two. But it does sound weird. Spurred by pride. How can we say? Like, unwilling to play second fiddle. Pride at risk. The proud Hawkmoon loosed with astonishing speed, unwilling to be outdone. Their arrows fell in a feathered downpour and devastated the ranks of... Okay, cool. So we got it in there. Yeah, I'm with you in that there's too much. The once proud lizard-man warriors woke from their trances and turned on the corrupted shaman who had sold the tribe into dark bondage. It was all coming apart. The Riftmaster and the Black-Handed Ones saw the western half of their army on the verge of collapse. They joined their voices in a powerful incantation. Sunder the sky. The spell would wrench apart the heartstrings of space and draw the rampaging angel into a rampaging black angel into a void without form. From atop the ridge, a grand voice rose against them. From Bobbert's slight frame, the words of Abaxios Osloon boomed across the battlefield, and unraveled each sigil. Oh, I hate. We'll just use sigil. Here. Unraveled each sigil as soon as it was uttered. Countered. The Riftmaster thrashed in his throne while the black-handed one clasped blinking palms to his skull. So he, earlier in the story, is told he's like the guy from Pan's Labyrinth, where he has eyes on his palms. Blood dripped from their noses and trickled from their ears. The Chaos Pretenders reeled, stunned by the rebuff of a true master. Oh yeah. The west was almost won, but the east was in peril. A howling wall of Reaver footmen crashed against a wall of chaos. Oh, yeah. Crashed against a phalanx of Chaos Legionnaires. For a time, fervor and woe let the Reavers stand against the elite warriors. Alas, their axes were forged from inferior northern steel. They died to a man, and could not drop a single Legionnaire. The Legionnaires advanced, now in full flush of the Bladed Lady's favor. Behind them, a horde of cultists and beastmen howled for blood. Desperate to hold the line, Hilg ordered his shield-bearers to pivot into the breach. Suffer and the Mastersmith cried out in warning, too late. As the shield-bearers diverted, they passed too close to an ancient cairn. The menhirs rippled and changed forms, revealing a trio of grinning, toad-faced demons. The warp-fire Weezers puffed up and spat streams of gleaming quicksilver into the shield-bearers. A few managed to turn and get their shields up, but they were no help. The quicksilver burst into prismatic blooms of multicolored flame. It did not burn, it changed. Flesh became fluid. Wood disappeared in a swirl of sparks. Steel froze and shattered. The air screeched and squealed in a din of unchecked transmutation. Only the legendary will of the shield-bearers kept them from buckling under such terrible losses. With his hammer raised, Suffren charged the Weezers, heedless of the danger. The Mastersmith's furious strikes drove the demons back, into a formation of Imperial halberdiers. With ease they skewered the Weezers, but even in death, the demons took a terrible toll. Each exploded in a gout of chaos manifest that tore apart scores of pikemen. To their horror, the blasted bits of their countrymen began to slither together and reform. At either flank of the eastern front, the Windsworn were beaten back, but the center held. A light blazed at the vanguard, too bright to snuff. A flame with diamond shine. Oh yeah, it is a lot to go on, but like again, this is just like sort of the fantasy battles that I used to read in White Dwarf magazine back in the day, and they really did it in like a very heavy-handed, like laying it on thick type thing. I think we only had like one or two like on and on battle scenes like this, but yeah, I remember it being kind of the same. Like reading, you like it? Yeah, you like it, but I guarantee like every woman that's reading this is like, yeah, like it's kind of like the Killer Angels or Gettysburg or whatever, where the shooting just goes on and on and on. But that's how battles are, man. Sometimes they go for like a whole day, day and night. Didn't we like siege Mosul for like 3 or 4 weeks straight? It's crazy. Aflame with diamond shine, Burback Breakbow and his berserkers tore into the chaos ranks. No foe could touch Breakbow and his shard-drake plate. No monstrosity could withstand the vicious swings of his unbreakable Drakefang axe. The blackened chaos plate that had stymied the windsworn footmen parted like ripe cheese beneath the blue-baned steel axes of Burback's berserkers. They cleaved through the legionnaires and bit deep into the great horde of cultists and beastmen. Surrounded, the dwarves set on the unclean ones like wolverines. The chaos host broke and tried to flee in all directions, upsetting the other formations. The beaten windsworn rallied behind the wedge and thrust towards Lastgate. Step by bloody step, the windsworn reavers and the heartbroken brigade battled up the far side of the valley until the chaos host was driven against the walls of Lastgate. Seeing all was lost, Slish gave the signal. Inside the walls, a cell of Chaos infiltrators murdered their unsuspecting allies, lowered the drawbridge, and threw wide the great gates. Threw wide the city gates. The Riftmaster's entourage fled into the the great gates. The Riftmaster's entourage fled into the city and screamed to raise the bridge behind them. They were too late. Burbak's berserkers were already halfway across the bridge. Desperate to avoid a return to the realms of chaos, Slish threw his remaining troops into their path and ordered his flesh golems into a full retreat. No matter how he bellowed at them or what black magics he unleashed, he could not shake the crazed dwarves. At last, Burbak Breakbow broke through and chopped a palanquin bearer down like a tree. No, the Riftmaster howled. Slish pitched from his black throne and slid into the corpse-choked street. Mindless, his golems marched on and left him trapped on his back in the muck. The Riftmaster looked up into the insane face of Burbak Breakbow. The Drakeslayer grinned back in all of his gory, glittering glory. I yield. Slish raised his pudgy palms in surrender. Supposed to take you alive, Burbak smiled. The Riftmaster smiled back. Then his tongue split in three, so he could pronounce the 7 sigils of atrocity. Before he could, the unbreakable Drakefang axe cleaved his head in half. The Riftmaster was slain. Whoops, Burbak laughed. Others joined in. Runagir, Potboy, and even Ureg the Whirlwind had fought his way to the finale. They were all streaked in the same blood and slime as he. For a strange moment, Burbak looked from Northman to Southerner, dwarf to man, and they all seemed the same. They had fought as one, triumphed over their hated foe, saved the city, and survived. Skalds and bards would sing of this day until the end of time. Yet as the rage ebbed from his limbs, Burbak felt the ancient hate whisper to him. Ureg's savage ancestors were the ones who'd raided the northern outposts of Black Boar for generations. The loss of those critical farms played a large part in the mountain's downfall. Dwarf to man, man is not capitalized. So dwarf is capitalized because it's a fantasy race. Man is just dudes. And it's consistent throughout the story. The editor may change that. They were laughing now, but these reavers were no different from the beasts who had burned Dagbell Dell. Why had they shed so much dwarven blood for these men? They'd bled badly. Only a handful of shield-bearers remained. Hilg's son Bloki was gone, burned by the accursed flame. Young Gebbo had his belly torn open by a beast-man. His brothers had put him down and had to put him down and burn his body on the spot, lest he turn into one of the monstrosities. So many lost. They could never be replaced. So, the reason why we do that, right? Let me see. Oh yeah, he can be he there. Yeah, I'll take that. La, na, 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 na. So the reason, yeah, there was like a clarifying Burbak there, but I think you're right. Like once we, the first instance makes it clear who we're talking about, and then we can just use a pronoun. Mm-hmm. So many lost. They could never be replaced. A black voice whispered that the rage did not need to end. He could turn on these wicked Northmen. I think Northmen is capital. Pay them back for all their evil deeds. And the halberdiers, comrades or not, they were no better. It was their ancestors who'd ventured north, death to dwarven warnings. They listened instead to the whispers that promised immortality. The child empire, idiots without history. They never thought to ask, who would offer such a thing? What would they demand in return? Heedless, the humans tampered with ancient seals they could not begin to comprehend. They bartered with terrors that the ancients had spent. They bartered with terrors that Burbak's ancestors had spent everything to contain. Of course they were betrayed. Chaos flooded back into the world, and nothing could put it back. Flooded into the world, and nothing could put it back. In truth, these Imperials had done far more harm than the Reavers, who only wanted to pillage and steal. Burbak's grip tightened on the axe. He knew it was madness, but he was so tired, so sick of losing friends and kin. Every year the dwarves dwindled, and there was no end of foes. They were a fading race. All that was left was to rage, rage, rage. Others shrank from him, sensing the tumult. A darkness fell over his face, and they heard black wings beat. Cinnabanathi landed beside Burbak, and the hate in his eyes burned away. The purest of the Hawkmoon was immaculate after battle. By looking at her, one would never guess the Black Angel had slain more foes than Burbak and Ureg put together. With divine grace, Cinnabanathi looked down at her filthy friend. Burbak met her stare, rapt. She nodded at the halved head of the Riftmaster. Didn't we say we'd take this one alive, so that his black masters can't summon him back from the abyss again? Cinnabanathi reminded Burbak. Let him come back. I'm not done killing him, Burbak gruffed. The Black Angel smiled. At terrible cost, the day was won. Lastgate stood. Alright, cool. Dang. Man, how long is this? Alright, so this is 4:11. I hope that this is like the longest battle in this thing. How many pages do we just go on for? 403. That's 8 straight pages of battle, man. Oh, and the reader's like, no, I want to hear about the guy and his girlfriend. Oh my god, that's great. What did he say? Was he mad? What did Vlad say? Or JC say? Yeah, I do like the battle scene. Oh shoot, I just gave you a I gave Sloth your point, Logic. Hold on, let me fix this. Wait, how many times did I do that? No, okay, just one. 12, and then Logic 26. Cool. I know, right? You gotta stand up for your own points. Oh my god, that's great. What did JC say? Was he mad? So mad. He lost both generals. Then he threw a fit and almost got thrown out. He only settled down because losing 2 more games would drop him from 3rd place. I can't believe we won. Everybody was cheering for us. Duncan said it was the loudest he's ever heard it in there. The people from Baskin-Robbins came in to see if we were okay. Serves him right. I can't stand Jeremy. He laughed at my opening once. Like actually laughed at me for playing the Queen's Indian. The referee gave him a warning. He's such a jerk. Wait, sec. On the other end of the line, Robin heard Mrs. Amsler tell Yvonne 5 more minutes was up 5 minutes ago. Robin glanced at the clock. Somehow it was after midnight. It felt like Una had handed him the phone minutes ago. I gotta go, and we're picking up the gremlins from camp tomorrow and doing some dumb family thing. We're picking up the gremlins from camp tomorrow and doing some dumb family thing. But maybe I'll see you at chess club? Sure. I mean, I hope so. I have to see how my numbers are on Monday. Good luck. Of course. Good luck, and good night, Robin. Good night, Yvonne. The corners of his mouth ached. Robin had finished Una's bird and painted 4 more while they talked. He wondered if he'd kept Una awake. He tried to keep quiet, but Yvonne kept making him laugh. He turned off all the lights and got ready for bed as quietly as he could. As he brushed his teeth, his throat was sore. He wondered if he was getting sick, but he realized it was just from talking. He wondered if he was getting sick, but realized it was just from talking. It was the most he'd said at once to anyone since his mother died. Outside his window, the storm was past. Stars shone through the cauda clouds. The night was still, the crickets sang, and trucks rumbled on Interstate 40. From the Rio Grande, a coyote let out a long howl. It went unanswered. The end. No, you could end the book on that right there, and it'd be so much nicer than things that may or may not happen throughout the course of the story. Well, I hope that this scene will what do we call it? Let's just call this the Battle of Last Gate. All right, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the battle scene there. So this is which chapter? 47? Man, we only got like 10 chapters left. We're going to be done before this week is out, especially if I edit more. Well, we got 12 chapters left. And let's see what we can do with it. So chapter 47. Boom. So there. Publish this chapter. All right, and if you want to guess how many words this was, I'm gonna guess 8 pages. Blah, 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 blah. I want to say this is 4,100 words. All right, so type it in the chat while I do the Substack thing. Great. Wait, my dinner with Amsler was 45. Oh no, I did another one. Yeah. Create article. And this was 47, I believe. Okay. Oh, it looks so good in oh, so many red things, but it looks amazing in this. So let me just add a little subscribe button. Not that you really need to subscribe at this point. Continue. Everyone, and everyone now. Yeah, I'm gonna say 4,100 words. Okay, and then we can go to the Battle of Last Gate here, and then we can go back here to El Retorno del Rey. We can edit this guy, and then let's see, we can insert a link and make it an embed. A lot of work to do all this, right? To have it on 2 different platforms. But I do like that, because Royal Road, you send somebody that, and they see like a bunch of writing from children who were trying to write like fanfics and stuff like that. At least here, like there's some people who are pretending to be journalists and so forth. But man, as I'm looking through, they are so thirsty. Like every other post is like, I want to meet other authors and making community and like ugh. I'm like, ugh, skin crawls seeing some of these people. But you know, remember, I'm like a hermit. Yeah, I can't stand it. I know you planned it. All right, let's go down. Oh, it was only 3,028. I was nowhere near it. Oh, that's rough. It felt like 4,100 to me. That's like 15 pages this chapter. Which means that El Retorno del Rey was even longer, honestly. Okay. So, yeah, so I put this on Substack, Sloth. So if you have any normie friends that want to, that's how I feel about IRC. Do you think Royal Road would be a great place to meet trans people? Oh my god. You have no idea. Go into their Discord, bro, and you tell me what you're seeing over there. I mean, God bless them, you know? Keep flying your freak flag. But, yes, considerably. What was it? It's one of those places where I feel like if I ever uttered a single genuinely held opinion, I would be instantly banned. Like, remember we were trying to go on all those communist Discord servers, and like I knew like a fair amount of theory, and like I could tell the difference between like Trotskyanism and Leninism and so forth, and like I've read a bunch of the history and have some grasp on some like what Marxist economics would actually look like and so forth. But I think I got kicked out of one of them because I was like, okay, well, what do you feel is more important, like that everybody can eat or that trans people have rights? And they were like, no, both. And I'm like, yeah, but which one has a priority? They're like, none of us are free until all of us are free, and then I just banned from the server. So You heard it here first. It is more important to some people that you are free to express your gender than that people have food to eat and like houses over their head and stuff like that. And that really is the trick of how people keep anything legitimate from ever happening. They just take like these wedge issues where the people are super vocal and some of them are like the custodians of like an area or whatever, and they just get those people fired up on it so they don't care about, the real meat and potatoes of what's happening, which is like who has the money, how much of that money do they have, who can eat, who cannot eat, like who can afford to, you know, buy a house and bang your spouse and all the important things in the world. So that's how they get you right there. And then on the right, it's the same thing with like abortion and Jesus and so forth. But the main thing is I got banned from the Discord server for being too real. All right, let me go take a shower. And I had a good time editing this one today. Happy about that. Maybe I'll get something crazy for lunch. Just although every day this week I've been like getting something crazy to eat to celebrate. I'm fat. Need to chill. Yeah, RNO for sure. Yeah, Sloth, Logic, thank you both for your help on this. We're so close to done on this, by the way. Like, we will definitely be done before the end of July with this book, and then we can have a big celebration or whatever. If you know anybody who's like, so now that I have like that Substack, which I think is linked in the IRC channel, um, if you know like a normie friend that you think might, because this is actually like a story that you can link to people. It's not it's not like I'm dropping the hard R every other word. Like it's actually decent enough where children could gander out here. Link it in the chat. Send this to everybody. Post it. Help me out here. Yeah. So the Substack is dope, and it's got the charity tie-in and so forth. I don't know. You guys have already done so much for me already. I don't know why I'm hassling people, but so and then I'm gonna go and I need to work on doing like a reel or something for this. And then I think that's it. All right, let me get out of here. I don't think I really should spare. I should spare my voice and not do another edit today. But I'm like pumped. We're so close to the end. I just want to do like 10 chapters in a day. But it would be better to space them out and like really put our full attention into it, because getting the end of the story together is right. All right, so Logic and Sloth in the chat. What do you guys think is going to happen at the conclusion of this story? Like what you've read so far, where do you think it's leading? Like, do you have any theories as to what's going to happen? Like how do you feel the story is going with like the Heartbroken Brigade and Robin and everything? So you can hit me up in IRC about it if you have ideas. But let me see here. Did I do all the stuff that I'm supposed to do? Oh no, Dark Mage is fighting with both L2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and Octo. Oh lord. This isn't gonna end well. Some kind of big face-off match. But Robin has a seizure and dies halfway through. So Logic also thinks he's gonna die. Well, I mean, it is like a 1 in 20 chance that he would survive, like the lineage shift to acute myeloid leukemia. Seizure in the middle of the match. Kind of interesting. Well, maybe I'll use that. Yeah. All right. But we'll see what comes of all of it. But